66 million years ago, the most dangerous animal on Earth was not on land. It was in the water, and it was watching everything that came near the surface. It was not a shark. It was not a whale. It was not even a dinosaur. It was a lizard the length of a school bus with the body of a serpent. It had jaws that could swing open like a snake's, and a second set of teeth hidden inside its throat. Whatever it bit, it did not let go, ever. So how does a lizard become the apex predator of an entire ocean? How does a creature related to the snake in your garden grow into a 15-ton monster? And here is the part almost no one tells you. This animal changed how the human race understands death itself. In the next several minutes, you will learn the true story of this lost species. Not the monster from the movies, the real one. And the real one is stranger than any film. You will learn how it hunted, why its body broke every rule we thought we knew, and how a single skull, pulled from a mine over 200 years ago, forced humanity to admit a terrifying truth. That entire kinds of life can vanish from this world forever. This is the sea dragon that taught us what extinction means. If that is why you are here, stay. We're going under. To understand this animal, you have to forget the word dinosaur completely, because Mosasaurus was not one. It only shared the same world, and, in the end, the same death. While dinosaurs ruled the land, something else ruled the water. A group of marine reptiles called Mosasaurus, and the largest of them all carried the name of the entire family. Mosasaurus, the lizard of the Meuse River. But it was no ordinary lizard. Its closest living relatives are the monitor lizards and snakes you can still see today. Now, imagine one of them stretched to the length of a city bus, weighing as much as 3 elephants. That is not a fantasy. That is what the prehistoric world actually built. And the fossil record backs it up. This was one of the last great ancient predators of the Cretaceous and one of the most studied. For nearly 20 million years, in the open ocean, it had no equal. It ate whatever it wanted. It feared almost nothing. And yet, when humans first found its bones, we had no idea what we were looking at. We thought it was a whale, then a crocodile, then something that simply could not be named. Because in that moment, the very idea that an animal could cease to exist forever did not exist either. People believed the world was complete, that nothing was ever truly lost. So this is 2 stories braided into one. It is the story of a monster that ruled a vanished ocean. And it is the story of how that monster's skull taught the human race the meaning of death. Let us start with the body, because almost nothing about it makes sense at first. A land lizard is built to crawl. For legs, a dragging tail, low to the ground, slow, exposed. Mosasaurus took that same basic blueprint and rebuilt it, piece by piece, for the open ocean. Its 4 legs were gone. In their place sat 4 broad, powerful paddles. They were not really for pushing the animal forward. They were for control, for turning on a knife's edge in the middle of an attack, when a fraction of a second decided who ate and who died. The real power came from somewhere else. Its tail. For a long time, scientists pictured this animal swimming like an eel, a slow, side-to-side wriggle. They were wrong, and the correction is important. We now know the tail ended in a real fin, a powerful fluke bent downward, working much like the tail of a shark. This was not a slow drifter feeling its way through the dark. This was a torpedo with a serpent's body wrapped around it. Think about what that combination actually means. An ambush predator that could hang almost motionless in the gloom, invisible and patient. Then, in a single beat of that tail, explode forward in a burst of raw speed. By the time its prey understood the danger, the strike was already finished. But the body was only the beginning of how strange this creature was. The head is where it becomes a nightmare. The skull of the largest individuals could stretch beyond 5 feet, longer than many grown adults are tall. It was lined with dozens of curved, cone-shaped teeth, each one built to grip and tear. But the teeth you can see were not the real horror. Open a mouth and look deeper. Set far back in its throat was a second set of teeth called pharyngeal jaws. We see this today in a moray eel, a hidden mouth waiting inside the mouth. Once the outer jaws seized prey, those inner teeth dragged it backward down the throat. There was no pulling free, and the outer jaw itself moved in a way yours never could. Like a snake, the lower jaw could flex and bow outward at the middle. That let it swallow prey far larger than its head should allow. This is the snake heritage, the same trick a python uses scaled up to monstrous, ocean-going size. Now hold that image. A serpent's mouth on the body of a sea dragon. And to aim all of that, it had something most reptiles lack, superb eyesight. Its sense of smell was poor, but it barely mattered. This was a hunter that found prey by sight. A pair of large, forward-set eyes scanning the bright surface from the dark below. Then there's the trait that should not be possible at all. Almost every reptile alive is cold-blooded. It borrows its heat from the world around it. But the evidence points to something extraordinary. Mosasaurus was warm-blooded. It generated its own heat from the inside, like a mammal or a bird. Among all the lizards and snakes that have ever existed, this is almost unheard of. And that single trait rewrites what it could do. A warm body meant it could hunt in colder, deeper water where its prey grew sluggish and slow. It could chase longer, strike faster, stay deadly when everything around it was barely moving. That is why its bones turn up almost everywhere. Mosasaurus fossils have been found across North and South America, Europe, Africa, and even near Antarctica. Tropical seas, temperate seas, cold, near polar water. This was not a creature confined to one warm corner of the ancient world. It owned them all. So step back and look at what you have assembled. A serpent's unhinging jaws, a shark's driving tail, an eel's hidden second mouth, a warm-blooded engine, the eyes of a hunter in a world of cold-blooded prey. It is less a single animal than a collection of weapons fused into one terrible shape. And once you understand the weapon, the only question left is the obvious one. What did it hunt? To picture this predator's world, erase every ocean you have ever known. The late Cretaceous Seas were warmer than today's, and in many regions, far shallower. Great inland seas flooded across the continents, turning dry land into hunting grounds. This was the prehistoric world at the absolute height of its marine power, and Mosasaurus sat at the very top of it. As an apex predator, it answered to nothing. Its menu was nearly everything else that lived. Bony fish, sharks, squid, and the coiled, shelled creatures called ammonites. Seabirds resting on the surface. Sea turtles, and other marine reptiles too. Picture a single hunt, the way the fossils suggest it happened. A seabird sits on the bright surface, riding the swell, watching for fish. From far below, in the dark, a shape has already locked onto its outline against the light. It does not rush. It rises. Slow, then sudden. The strike comes from beneath, where nothing can be seen coming. A burst of that shark-like tail. The surface erupts. The bird is simply gone. The outer jaws seize it. The inner throat teeth drag it down. By the time the water settles, the hunter has already vanished back into the deep. That same patience worked on far larger prey. Its teeth could grip a thrashing fish, but its jaws could also crush through shell and bone. A sea turtle's armor was no guarantee of safety. Ammonites, sharks, smaller reptiles, almost nothing in that sea was off the menu. And here is the detail that says the most about it. Fossils show Mosasaurus bite marks on other mosasaurs, including its own kind. This was a creature that hunted its own relatives. A cannibal of the ancient sea. In its world, size was the only real law, and it was almost always the largest thing in the water. But it did not rule that ocean alone, and this is what people forget. The Cretaceous Sea held other titans. Tylosaurus, with its battering ram snout. Prognathodon, with bone-crushing jaws. Some rivaled Mosasaurus in length. Some were built to shatter shells like a nut in a fist. For millions of years, these monsters shared the same crowded water. So how does one ocean hold that many apex predators at once? The answer is that they divided the sea between them. Different hunters took different prey at different depths with different tactics. It was a fragile, violent balance, and the fossils prove that balance sometimes shattered, because there is direct evidence these giants attacked each other. One mosasaur's bones carry the deep marks of another's teeth. Even within a single kind, they fought, grappling snout to snout, the way crocodiles still do today. These were not gentle waters. They were a silent, constant war fought beneath the waves. Because here is what that endless war beneath the waves was really hiding. Every one of these monsters, every single titan in that ocean, was living on borrowed time. The same rich, balanced world that let them grow so large was about to be erased in one terrible moment. And the first humans to ever find their bones would have no framework for what such an ending even meant. Now we leave the ancient ocean and come to the part of the story that changed us. Because long before anyone understood this animal, we found its skull, and it unsettled the greatest minds in Europe. The year was around 1764. Deep in a chalk mine beneath a hill near the Dutch city of Maastricht, workers struck bone. Enormous bone, a jaw, lined with teeth, locked into solid stone. They had no framework, no category, nothing to compare it to. At first, they guessed it was a whale, then a crocodile, and something no one could agree on at all. Years later, a second and more complete skull came out of the same mine, and that one became famous across the continent under a single haunting name, the great animal of Maastricht. But this is where the story turns dark in a very human way. War came to Maastricht. French revolutionary forces laid siege to the city. And they did not only want the territory, they wanted the skull. This fossil had become so prized that an entire army hunted it as a trophy. The legend says a reward was offered to whoever found it. 600 bottles of wine. The story goes, for the soldiers who recovered the great animal. Historians believe the tale grew taller with every retelling. But the truth beneath it is real. This skull was carried off like the spoils of war. It was taken to Paris, and there it landed in front of one of the most important minds in the history of science, a naturalist named Georges Cuvier. What he concluded from his single skull would reshape how every human being understands life and death. Cuvier studied the great animal of Maastricht with the eye of a master anatomist. He compared its bones, tooth by tooth, to the living creatures of the world, and he saw what others had missed. This was not a whale, not a crocodile. It was a giant marine lizard, a reptile kin to the monitors, but unlike anything alive on Earth. And that conclusion forced open a door no one had been ready to open. Because if this animal had truly existed once, and nothing like it lived anywhere now, then it had not migrated. It had not been overlooked in some distant sea. It was gone, entirely, permanently, forever. That idea barely existed before this skull. For most of human history, people believed nature was complete and permanent, that every kind of creature that had ever lived still survived somewhere out in the world. The thought that an entire form of life could simply end was almost unthinkable. The great animal of Maastricht helped prove that comfortable belief was wrong. This fossil became one of the cornerstones of a terrifying new idea, extinction. The understanding that life can be erased and that the earth is full of vanished kingdoms. A single skull, dragged from a mine and seized in war, helped birth that truth. And that is the strangest fact in this entire story. This sea monster did far more than rule an ocean 66 million years ago. Its bones taught the human race that death can be permanent, that whole dynasties of life can disappear without return. A predator that proved extinction was real, long before we even understood how it had died. So how big was it, really? This is where science and legend pull violently apart. You have seen it in films, swallowing sharks whole, the size of a building big enough to eat a boat. The truth is smaller, but in some ways, the truth is far more interesting than the myth. For decades, Scientists estimated the largest individuals at up to 56 feet. That number came from an old assumption about how the body should match the skull. But the body was always the problem. We have many skulls and very few complete skeletons. So much of this animal, even now, is a reconstruction built across missing bone. More recent analysis suggests something more modest. Many researchers now place the largest Mosasaurus closer to 43 feet. That is still longer than a great white shark, still weighing several tons, still one of the largest ocean predators the prehistoric world ever produced. But notice what that uncertainty is really telling you. We are arguing about the size of a monster we have never once seen complete. Every length you have ever heard is an educated guess, stretched across bones we do not have. The real animal may have been even stranger than our most careful reconstruction. And then, after all of it, came the end. Mosasaurus did not slowly fade into history. It was at the absolute peak of its power when the world broke. Around 66 million years ago, an asteroid roughly the size of a mountain struck the Earth. The same catastrophe that ended the dinosaurs reached all the way down into the sea. And the strike did not even need to touch the ocean to destroy it. It filled the skies with debris. It choked off sunlight. It collapsed the food chains the whole ocean depended on. Take away the small life at the bottom, and everything above it starves in turn. Take away the prey, and even the perfect hunter has nothing left to hunt. The apex of the ocean fell, along with everything beneath it. The warm-blooded serpents that had ruled for 20 million years were gone. Not because something finally beat them in the water, but because the world that fed them simply ceased to exist. Step back and look at the whole shape of this story. A serpent that became a sea dragon. A warm-blooded reptile thriving in a cold ocean. A cannibal apex predator that ruled the open water for 20 million years, and then vanished at the height of its power in an instant it never saw coming. Every single part of it broke a rule. It was a lizard that conquered the sea, the only warm-blooded giant in a cold-blooded family. It had a second mouth buried in its throat and the launch speed of a torpedo. Nothing alive today is quite like it, and as far as we know, nothing ever was. But the part that should stay with you is not the teeth, not the size, not even the hunt. It is what its skull did to us, to the very people who pulled it from the rock. This animal handed humanity one of the hardest truths we have ever been forced to accept, that the living world is not permanent, that entire dynasties of life can simply, completely end. Before this creature, we believed nature never lost anything. After it, we began to understand that the earth is a graveyard as much as it is a garden, that the reign of any king on the land or in the sea is only ever temporary, and that even the most perfect predator is always just one disaster away from becoming a fossil in a museum wall. Nothing about Mosasaurus was normal. Not its body, not its reign, not even the lesson it left behind for us. What we cover today is the predator that ruled the Cretaceous Sea and taught us the meaning of death. But it was not the first monster to own the ocean, and it was not, by far, the strangest. Long before these warm-blooded serpents, other giants ruled the deep. Reptiles with eyes the size of dinner plates. Hunters that dove deeper than any animal should survive. Creatures so alien that the first scientists to measure them refused to believe their own numbers. We go there next. If this changed how you see the prehistoric world, leave a comment with what surprised you most. Was it the second set of jaws? The warm blood in a cold-blooded family? The skull that proved extinction is real? Every comment tells us you want to go deeper. And we always go deeper.